So, locked up at 15, 8 years, locked up at 15, doing 8 years as in an adult facility, right? I mean, and today he runs an app that Apple put on the stage. I'm telling you, if he could do it, so can you. That's actually one of his quotes. But welcome back to Prison Bosses, the show built for anybody who's ever been counted out before and decided to count themselves back in. I'm your host, Trent Griffin-Braaf. Y'all know my story from Felon to Forbes. And today's guest is living proof that your sentence is not your story. Marcus Bullock walked out of prison at 23, started a construction company, started to hire other returning citizens, and then he built Flikshop. Now, this is a software that lets families send postcards to anyone in any cell, anywhere in the country. And Forbes actually called it the Instagram for prisons. Marcus calls it a lifeline. He's a TEDx speaker, an EY Entrepreneur of the Year finalist, one of the Roots 100 most influential African Americans, and the founder of Flikshop School of Business, teaching returning citizens to code and build their own way home. Man, but before we get into that, I know you guys are excited. I got to give a quick word to our folks who made this whole show possible. Prison Bosses is proudly sponsored by Justice Exposed, the community program from Industrial Bank. Industrial Bank is a Black-owned bank that walks into jails and prisons and youth detention centers and teaches financial literacy to the Justice Exposed. They've been over 1,000 people have been served thus far, with returning citizens opening their first ever bank accounts while they're incarcerated. Now, we're talking real second chances, real banking, no gimmicks. And so you can learn more about Industrial Bank by visiting them online at industrialbank.com. Now, let's get into it. Marcus, welcome to Prison Bosses, brother. Excited to have you with us today. How you feeling?
Good, man. Thank you so much for having me. This is going to be dope. I'm excited about it.
Agreed, bro. Agreed. So tell us a little bit about yourself. What's your upbringing? Where you from? Take us back to a young Marcus.
Yeah, man. I'm born and raised here in the Washington metropolitan area, Washington, D.C. metropolitan area. My mom came to the D.C. area from West Virginia with her family when she was like in second grade. So my mom went to, D.C. public schools. She graduated from Spingarn High School. And then my sister and I came along a few years later, and we were growing up in DC area as well. My mom was determined to ensure that we didn't get caught up in what was happening out in the city, and so my mom was like, "Yo, we got to move out of the DC area." And her idea of moving out of DC so that we wouldn't get caught up would be moving out of Northeast to Forestville, Maryland. And for the listeners who don't know what that really means, she literally could have threw a football from where we was living to where we moved to. But in her mind, she was like, "Yo, you know what? It's not in zip code 20019, so maybe you know what I mean. Like I'm escaping something." And so it was interesting, like growing up and now going from being a kid in DC to being a teenager in Forestville to going to Suland High School, and I was enamored by all of the stuff that I saw outside around my way, like the dudes who was getting it in. They had all the girls. They liked them. They had all this fly stuff, you know what I mean? And I wanted to be like them. I didn't want to be like my mother.
That's real talk right there. And so around what age did you jump off the porch and start to emulate some of the things you were seeing?
Yeah, so I mean, I was pressed. I was out that junk early, mad early. But the crazy thing of it was like, yo, the dudes around my way, they wasn't excited about letting me in. Some of the folks like, nah, bro, you play basketball, you tripping, or young, way a little younger, go around the corner. And so they would push me away. But it wasn't for real. It wasn't because I was, thrown about what it is that they were doing. I really just wanted the Jordans. You know what I mean? Eddie Bauer coats was big. I wanted the Eddie. You know what I mean? Like dudes had Super Tams, and some of them was getting money, had polo boots. Like I wanted in. You know what I mean?
Polo boots.
Oh, they crushing them. You know what I mean? And so I was like, yo, I want to in. And the crazy thing of it is that back then it wasn't. There were rules to the game. It was a lot of it really was legit about making money. You know what I mean? Like people really legit wanted to make money. and it was
That's a
all
fact.
about making money, right? And so,
Yep.
you know, and the only time you know, like Fabulous said, beef ain't good unless you're in the burger business. And so,
That's a
like,
whole fact.
you know what I mean? Like, people knew that. So it was like, yo, look, we all gonna go outside. We all gonna take turns. We all gonna stack our bread together. You know what I mean? We gonna get money. And I saw that as well. Like that level of camaraderie, you know what I mean? Like the friendship was different. You know what I mean? And so, eventually, you know, I would make friends with, you know, folks that was outside, and it wasn't lost on me that, you know, I lived in a neighborhood that was, you know, crime ridden and so crime riddled. So I knew that if I wanted to do something major, that I could, I could. And my was it about 12, I was 12 years old. 12 years old. I'm thinking, all right, cool. I might be able to be outside and I can hold my own, but I don't know what that really looks like. One night I'm coming home from church. It was a church event. And you know, I grew up in the church, by the way. Grew up in the church. My mom, she's like, yo, look, you know, go ahead and get ready for school the next day. And my sister, who was 3 years older than me, she's like, well, I'm ironing clothes for school tomorrow, but our iron is broke. So I need you, Marcus, to go down the street and go get the iron from Aunt Dot. And my aunt, because my aunt lived like 5 apartment buildings down from me. And so I went down the street, go get the iron from my aunt. And when I get the iron from my aunt tells me, like, yo, you borrow the iron, you know, see later, you know, when you walk home, make sure you know, be safe. I'm looking at my aunt like, yo, you tripping. This is my neighborhood.
It's right up the house. Yeah, it's right up the street. 5 houses.
Yeah, you bugging. Right. As I'm walking down the street, dudes drive past me in a whip, and when they drive past me, I see them driving past me, you know what I mean? And when they start slowing down, I slow down too, let them know I'm on point too. They roll out the window, they like, hey, my man, you know what shorty, that girl named Candy live at? I'm like, oh, snap. I'm like, nah, you know, you want to know where a girl live at? Oh, I'm with all of it. Now I want to help you out. Now you want to know where the girl live at. But the crazy thing of it is, I'm like, ain't no girls around my neighborhood named Candy, so who you looking for? They was like, yo, she said she lived in building 1956. I'm like, oh, you did 1956 right here. I turn back around, they got the hammer in front of my face. When I turn, I'm like, oh, snap. They put me in the back of the car, and they pull off. We drive around for a couple of hours before they individually end up letting me go. The whole time, they was like, yo, you know, they was asking me questions. Where's the money? Where's the safe? Take me back to the crib. They ain't have a mask on. And if you from the streets, you already know somebody come and snatch you up and they ain't got a mask on.
Yeah.
Rap City in the basement. You know what I mean?
Facts.
So in my mind, I'm like, oh man, this is, you know, they ain't got a mask on. You know, I'm crying real tears in that back seat. I'm like, oh, this is how it's going to end. I'm a kid. You know what I mean? I'm like 12,
right. Literally a kid. Literally a kid.
And when they let me go, that was in that moment that I told myself as I'm crying, running home with that iron in my hand, to my mom, like, oh my God, somebody just kidnapped me. In that moment, I'm like, oh yeah, I see why they be outside with the guns on them. They ain't never, ever, ever gonna catch me late without a hammer on me ever again. Next day, I go out, go get me a hammer, and that was the beginning of me like, oh yeah, all right, now you know, the weightiness of them few pounds that's on your waist, it brings a different level of psychology when you're walking around with that joint every day.
That's a fact. That's a fact, bro. And you know what? I think, one, just for our listeners, don't lose sight of a couple of things that he already dropped some jewels. Some of it is, he also mentioned having real OGs back then. I think that's something that's lacking. And for my brothers and sisters who aren't home, that's why we need y'all home. Because a lot of the young people nowadays are being put on dummy missions. There ain't really that many real OGs that's telling the kids to go away. Nowadays, they giving the kids the guns, the drugs, and telling them, send them on these missions. So we need y'all home. 2, teamwork in the streets. So at a young age, he was able to see how the beef business ain't good and how teamwork was able to actually help everyone who was getting to it elevate themselves by working together. Don't let that go over your head. And then 2, I think, and I could be wrong, but I feel like that was also the beginning of your entrepreneurial mindset, being around all of this. This is the first introduction to business in some way, in my opinion, at least. But lastly, that PTSD. I know many of us, you know, that first time we ever held a hammer in our hand and you get that power and then you decide in your moment, ain't nobody ever going to talk to me like that again, or that shit ain't going to happen to me again. And I feel like that's what you were experiencing in that moment. And so is that the setup for that sentence that you end up getting at 15?
What's wild is that that was the beginning. That was the beginning of just feeling empowered by having a drain on me. And you just walk different, you talk different, you think different. Like you said, like you just said, like can't nobody talk to me any old kind of way anymore. You know what I mean? But like the decisions, I have way more. I have many more decisions that I can make as a result of this, perceptively. That's what I thought, at least, right? And so yeah, I definitely felt empowered. So the night that my boy and I, when we decided we wanted to carjack a dude in a shopping mall parking lot, it wasn't nothing for us to be able to pull the drain out. And now, in fact, somebody pulled one out on me. How hard could it possibly be? I ain't die. I ain't get shot. Ain't nobody get hurt. How hard can it possibly be? They ain't get locked up. I ain't gonna get locked up. Like, like all those correlations started happening, you know what I mean, in real time as a little youngin'. And we made a horrible decision, pulled the gun out on the dude in the mall, asked him to get out of his car. He gets out of his car. We get in the car. We pull off. The next day, we get arrested at the shopping mall trying to go shopping with the main man's stolen credit cards from last night. What's wild is that when they arrested us that next day for the carjacking, and they, we go down to the juvenile spot, now we got to wrestle with whether or not, they're going to certify us as adults and take us over to the county jail because apparently we done committed big boy crimes. They take it, they do exactly that. They certify us. They take me over to the jail. Now I'm facing a life sentence. Now I go from a car theft charge where I got, I might be facing 9 months as a juvenile to a carjacking charge with the use of a firearm and the commission of a felony as an adult facing a life sentence.
Damn.
I go stand in front of a judge. I listen to them sentence me to 23 years of life. They suspended 15 of them, left me with 8 to serve. I'm a 15-year-old standing in front of a judge thinking I'm getting ready to go home in a couple of weeks and listening to him sentence me to 8 years in adult maximum security prisons.
What's going through a young Marcus' mind in that moment when he's being sentenced and realizing, damn, I ain't going home. I got to do 8 years.
When they sentenced me, what was going through my mind was my girlfriend just bought me a brand new shirt that I'm gonna kill him with when I get back to school in a couple weeks. What's
the
wild?
Young mind. The young mind, boy.
You know what's wild is that when you're 15 years old, you know what I mean? Your brain is just a little different. You know what I mean? Like
it's underdeveloped. I'm a
kid.
That's a fact.
I'm a kid.
That's a fact.
I'm a baby, right? And I'm a kid, and I'm standing in front of a judge, and in my mind, I think I got it all figured out, right? And I know that my mom, she's in the background. She'll definitely get me out of whatever situation I'm in. My aunts and uncles, they in a room. The judge sees this. They'll talk to them. I watch Law and Order every night. You know what I mean? I know that all I gotta do is tell my mom to go talk to the people back in the judge's chambers, and eventually, you know what I mean? Like, they'll figure it out.
Work out. Yeah,
it's the easy one, right? So I wasn't tripping. Matter of fact, when the judge sentenced me and I go back to the pod, in my mind, I'm like, all right, cool. I'll be out within 2 weeks, right? So as long as if I do, a certain amount of push-ups, my chest will be as swollen, you know what I mean? I'll go home. I'll be able to go back. I'll jump right back into the starting lineup for my basketball team in high school. I'll have an opportunity to still compete for that Division I scholarship, against some other team members, right? My life is going to continue to keep going. It legit wasn't until 2 years later when I'm walking around the third prison rec yard that I had been on by that time, they had transferred me to. When I'm walking around my prison rec yard with my boy Danny B, and when I'm walking around with him, he in his mid-50s. Prison was the only place you could be 17 and one of your best friends in mid-50s.
That's a fact.
That's big. You know what I mean? Like this. Yep. And so I'm 17 now, and I've been in for 2 years. In my mind, I'm a vet. In my mind, I've been in 2 years. In my mind, I've been in for 2 whole years, 2 whole things. That's 365 times
twice.
2. You know what I mean? Like, bro, I'd have done a big. You know what I mean? So when I'm walking around rec yard, I'm walking around rec yard, my man, he in his 50s. I'm like, yo, bro, what you do to get here in your mid-50s? Matter of fact, I don't know what you did, but I tell you what, I know how to do time. You know what I mean? I got the 2 for 1s, 3 for 5s, 5 for 8s. You know what I mean? I got the joint on lock. I got my man that work in the kitchen. You know what I mean? Yeah. So if you need some green and whites, you know what I mean? I got you. You know what I mean? I know how to. I got the stamp game. I got the coffee game. I know how to fly the kite to the different. I can tell you how to do time, right? I'm a professional. I'm a vet. And
I've been doing this.
He looked at me like, yo, you know how much time I've been locked? You know how long I've been locked up? And I'm like, I don't know, but I could tell you. You know what I mean? Like, I got 2 years. I can tell you how to do time. He like, man, I've been here for 31 years. When Danny B tells me that he's been in prison for 31 years, my whole heart drops to my toes. Because that's in that moment that I'm like, oh snap. If they will make a man do 31 years, they made me do all 8 of mine. And that was literally the day I got sentenced. Even though I got sentenced 2 years before, that was the day I got sentenced.
Now, is that also the day that a shift turned for you when you decided you didn't want to do this forever, or what was the next shift, if that wasn't the shift that really started to prepare young you for reentry and for you not returning?
Yeah, it definitely was not the shift. That was a shift for me to wild out. I wish I could have that. I wish I had that, sexy story, you know what I mean, where I, was like, oh man, I had this wonderful epiphany, like I get my life together. And that wasn't it. You know what I mean? For all the people that's doing
Still
time,
young. Still young.
I mean, for the reality of it is that you go through these different seasons. You know what I mean? And so when I meet people that's still in a season where they transitioning or they haven't quite transitioned from them old selves to their future of who they're going to be, or for the run from now on. In my mind, I'm like, yo, I ain't mad at you, Slim. You know what I mean? Because for real, when Daddy B told me that I was going to have to do all that time, I was like, oh yeah, I went dummy mission. I'm wild. I went from being a playful kid on the rec yard to now be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna die in prison. That's what it is.
That was the shift. That was the shift. Like, I'm completely with the shits. Whatever it is, it is what it is. Yeah,
it was wild. You know what I mean? And the crazy thing is, like, yo, now my all my fellas in them, they actually got. I mean, I had 8 years, and that was a lot of time. You know what I mean? But I had, my cell partner got life plus 43. My man in the hall got 58. You know what I mean? And they looking at me like, Slim, you got 8, and I know you feel like that's a long time, but even after you do all 8 of these, you still gonna be in your 20s, bruh. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you gonna be still
got your whole life.
You bugging, you wilding out, you ready to go to war over some dudes that got 100 years over 4 honey buns. Like, you bugging, you know what I mean? Like, how you gonna explain that to your mother when your mom's sending you commissary money, she accepting those GTL expensive collect calls, you know what I mean? Like, yo, and you in this young wildin', like, so you ain't care about her then, and you still don't care about her now. No, you bugging, and they was getting in my ear, you know what I mean? And that was the beginning of, like, young, you gotta tighten up, Marcus, man. Like, real life, like, you acting like you living to die, you know what I mean? And what are we talking about? You talking about you want to get money, or you talking about you want to die? You know what I mean? Like, what are we doing here? And that was
direction we gonna go in. Pick a lane, basically, right?
Real life. Yeah. Real life.
Now, damn, bro. So now you bidding, you been bidding, you putting the work in because you like, fuck it, I'm really gonna be bidding. Now you have this moment where you got some OGs in your ears who's telling you, like, look, we got life plus. You going home, you gonna go home in your 20s. Like, you could still make something of yourself. Now, what are you starting to think about yourself? How like, are you seeing yourself in that light yet? Do you look at yourself as someone who's special or any of that yet? Like,
yeah. In my mind, I always knew I was smart. You know what I mean? I always knew that I was entrepreneurial. I was a hustler. You know what I mean? All those things, right? But I mean, I didn't see a light at the end of the tunnel. I was so young and I couldn't see through that much time. In that moment, it became less about what am I going to do in the future, and to be honest, it more became about what am I going to do right this very moment today? Because I don't even know if I'm, you know what I mean? Like, if I'm going to make it out of here, that's dope. You know what I mean? And I'm going to kill it when I make it out of here. But all I got to do is pop the doors. You know what I mean? And I'm going to make it out of here. But while I'm in here, like, I also, I got to be self-sufficient. I need to not put my mom in a position where she always got to send me commissary money. You know what I mean? I can't always be going back and forth to the hole. You know what I mean? Like, yo, I'm missing out on it's so many different things that happen when I go to the hole. Because when I come out, I go to a different building. I might miss out on some more money. I might miss out on a program, opportunity. Like, my shit, everything changes. You know what I mean? So, like, I was like, yo, so what am I going to do right now so that life could be sweeter for me right now? And I learned how to do that in there. You know what I mean? From the school part to, like, man, I lived in school then, because then it was like, all right, every time they pop the doors for, after count, I'm like, yo, I'm going to school. I come out from school, they pop the doors for lunch. After lunch, I'm going back to school. They pop the doors for the third, for the afternoon count. I'm in the day room and I'm playing bones, I'm playing spades, but for real, I'm chopping it up with the bros who talking about getting money when they get home, but they also are leveraging something that we learned about or talked about in the school and the computer program, the vocational program. Like, we talking about it in a way, like the dudes that was in the wood shop, they're like, yeah, they making the legs for the chairs. I'm like, yo, you think they making legs for chairs out home out there in the street? Like, so what they doing with it? So if you know how to do that, what kind of other thing you know how to do? How you know how to do it? How much money do you want to make? Because the so-and-so talking about pushing a Rari. You think you ever going to get to a Rari? Make it? And we were having conversations that were just conducive to growing. We didn't know we were growing, but we were doing the mental push-ups. We were doing the mental push-ups that were necessary to strengthen our brains when we didn't know what we were doing. So now, when we ever got found inside of an environment, whether it was in our classrooms, when it was a book I'm reading, eventually I learned how to be able to, somebody had a subscription to one of the newspapers, so we started playing the stock market game, come out of the business pages. We started, acting like, yo, so if you was a CEO of this company, how would you do? We started having arguments about it, right? And now we have a different kind of argument in the day room versus like, yo, who's better? You know what I mean? Like, yo, is it LeBron and Mike? Now we like, yo, which company is better? Is it Nike or Apple? And then people are really arguing about like why Nike, Apple is, Nike stock is stronger, why Apple stock is stronger. Mind you, I had no idea that was preparing me for the markets that will be leveraging all of that when I came home. In my mind, I'm thinking about like, what am I doing right this very moment to position myself to do my thing? And I think that was the thing that changed everything.
Bro. You didn't wait, and you were proactive. And I think, for our listeners, something that a great jewel that he was just emphasizing is the fact that we are where we are right now because of the decisions that we made previously. And so while Marcus was sitting in that day room and he was switching up the conversation, he was surrounding himself around different energy, different conversation types, he was also preparing himself for where he was going in the future. And so it's never about right now. In fact, like, it's great to live in the moment. That's why it's called the moment. That's why it's a present. It's the present. It's beautiful to be present because we're here. But the reality is what we're doing in this moment is also preparing us for what's coming in the future. And so Marcus, so now you're in school, you're doing trade, you're having high level conversations. Let's fast forward to you being released and what that looks like for you. Did you have a game plan for yourself upon release? Did you know what you wanted to do, and did you actually stick to it?
It's interesting when it was time when they called me to be like, yo, come pack your stuff. You getting out. You daydream about that day. You know what I mean? Like, it literally daydream about it. And so when they popped the doors, the only game plan I had was like, yo, don't get locked back up again. Don't put your mother in a position where she's going to send you commissary money. Yep. But then also try to figure out how to leverage all the stuff that you talked about in those last few years of letters. That you was telling people you was going to do this and you was going to do that and you want to run this business and you had questions about that business and that shoe store and this and that. Like, yo, now it's time for go out there and go, run it up. Sure. So now I was like, yo, the first step to do it was I needed to find, at least give me a job. Let me get a job. And then I could spend my off time on my side hustle ideas. And I had a bunch of side hustle ideas. Most of them failed, but I had a bunch of them, right? Now I started, and now I would apply for a whole bunch of jobs. Everybody told me nah, literally everybody, because now I got to answer job applications and tell them I got a felony conviction.
Felony, yep.
They're like, nah, kick rocks. Finally, one job told me yeah, and they told me yeah simply because the question on the application asked me, have you been convicted of a felony, within the last 7 years? And I just served an 8-year prison sentence. So I was able to answer honestly, no, I have not been convicted of a felony within the last 7 years. Yep. And so they gave me a shot. It was at a paint store. I saw an interesting opportunity to be able to connect the customers that were coming to get their homes painted and they wanted to buy paint to paint their kitchens with the painters who were painting commercial spaces like gyms and hospitals in DC. When I saw that these painters were complaining about the workforce shortage and people getting laid off or people losing jobs and not being able to find new ones, I found it very unique because the Miss Johnsons of the world were coming to the paint store every day and asking people like me, how much do I charge to paint a kitchen? I'm like, well, we don't paint Miss Kitchen, Miss Johnson. I'm about to say this paint so you can paint your own. And so I started connecting the painters to the Miss Johnsons of the world. And that was my very first real hustle where I was able to be like, yo, Miss Johnson, if the market price to paint your kitchen is $500 and you say yeah, all I gotta do now is go back to work tomorrow and wait for one of them professional painters to come in and be like, yo, look, can you pay Miss John's Kitchen for me for $300? You know what I mean? Yep. Look, she gonna pay me $5, but you gonna make $3. I'm gonna make $2, and everybody eats. You going you moonlighting for me. You going, this is after work. You gonna make more than me. Make make more working for me than you are at your daylight.
At your every job. Yep.
And so everybody was the painters was like, bet, put me in the game. So now I got, I'm making $200 here, $100 there, $80 there, $95 there, $700 here. And I got projects all over the Washington metropolitan area. And it gave me the opportunity to be able to now like have a real business that I was growing, which became my construction company that I owned for several years after I came out of prison, after quitting that paint store and even hiring people that came out of prison just like me, giving them sustainable wages, which was something I was very, very proud of.
Bro, that's fucking amazing. And I love for our listeners, check the hustle, right? The hustle never stopped ever since his whole story. There's never been a point where the hustle stopped. It was the 2-for-1s while he's locked up, comes home, identifies another hustle opportunity. Bro, yo, I could see so many parallels. One of the funny things is I got into property management and I figured out some hustles around the laundry and shit like that. And, I just think if you a hustler, you going to always figure out a hustle, bro. And so for our listeners who's locked up, if you've been hustling, if you've been a hustler, that shit ain't going to stop. What we're telling you is stop hustling things that's going to get you locked up, though. There's so many positive things out here that you could be doing or other hustles. It ain't even got to be positive, but it ain't got to be negative or breaking the law. And so the other thing I got to tap dance on is bro gave y'all the ultimate jewel. If you've been incarcerated for more than 7 years, background checks only check the last 7 years. And so most background checks, if they do a deep dive, if you're probably going for a federal position or something like that, it's going to be a deeper dive. But your general job is only looking 7 years. So if you're like Marcus and you did 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 plus years, you could come home and honestly say no, and it's not going to show up on you. So you got yourself a job. Don't let that stop you. Even though ban the box is real in a lot of states and they don't ask that anymore, just giving you that jewel because he gave you that jewel and it's a powerful one. And so now you got your construction business up. Things are thriving with that. Like you said, you did that for some years. Is that the gateway that got you to the business you own now? And tell us a little bit about that business.
It was wild because after the success of the construction business for years, now it gave me an opportunity to have a life I dreamt about when I was in prison. The lifestyle that I read about in magazines and books. I got a chance to a lot of the places I said I wanted to go visit. I got a chance to travel there. A lot of the cars I wanted to drive, I got a chance to buy them Jays. You know what I mean? I'm dropping tops now. It was dope. I'm buying properties now. Like I'm playing Monopoly with real money. Like it was dope. You know what I mean? It was an incredible experience, and I felt great, very grateful for that. I mean, for years this Jay was growing and growing and growing and growing and growing, right? But one day, one of my boys now they call it home. And they hit me, and now I'm the one accepting collect calls. They're like, yo, bro, you remember when you was in here? And you remember when your mom used to write you letters? You remember when she sent you pictures? You remember, I'm like, yo, bro, they kept you alive, right? You been home, you ain't sent us not one letter. You ain't sent us not one picture, bro. Like, you remember us walking around the yard? You remember us, you know what I mean? Like, yo, going to commissary, standing outside live, like, yeah, when I go home, I know. Because I say it all the time, like, yo, you got 50 years, man. Dang, that's tough. When I go home, I got you, though. Because I would see people going home. I would see people going home and leaving my best friends and promising them that they would look out for them and they go home and they forget about them. And I went home and did the same exact thing. And it wasn't intentional. It was like, yo, Monday turned into Wednesday.
Life be lifing, bro.
Wednesday turned into 3 months like that out in the street.
That's a fact. What I mean? That's a fact. That's what I be telling people all the time. Like, we love y'all. But at the same time, there's only 24 hours in the day, and life be life. And like, as much as we want to write, be in contact, send pictures, we want to give you that love because we've been there. We know that. But we also only got 24 hours. We got family. We got businesses. We navigating life, and it's coming at us fast, bro. So for our listeners, don't think that the love is lost. It's really not. And don't think that you've forgotten about. You're really not. But what it really comes down to is just 24 hours in a day.
Bro, it's tough. It's tough. I mean, you'll look up. I mean, I promise you time wasn't moving that fast when I was inside. You know what I mean? I promise you. Bro, it'd be March. Like, you do time in seasons. Like, yo, I remember, like, it was doing day for day in prison. when I can, like now that I'm home, I'm like, yo, oh my gosh, dang. Right now, summer started. My kids out of school, summer starting. I got a couple months before fall starts and da-da-da-da. And then I'm like, dang, then we're gonna be at Christmas already. Oh my God. Like time was moving, right? And I felt bad because they was like, yo, I hear you, Marcus, but every day at 4 o'clock mail count, every day at 4 o'clock count, they doing mail call and they ain't calling my name like they was calling your name, bro. Like, what you doing? And I'm like, man, I gotta solve for this problem. So I gotta figure out a way to get these pictures off my phone. I'm gonna write my bros, like all the things. And then I started lying. Cause not intentionally lying. I was like, all right, I got you. I'm gonna send you the pictures. I got you. In real talk. In my head, I'm really gonna send them, right?
Yeah.
And then 2 weeks from now, they called me and I'm like, yo, I'm like, you ain't get them Jones yet? For real, you ain't get them yet?
Knowing damn well you ain't sent them yet.
Ain't even, bruh, still don't even know how to print pictures off my phone. I'm like, yo, nah, did you check the mail? Nah, you gotta put a request form in, put a grievance form in, tell them, you know, all the things. Right? I'm like, yo, we gotta do something about this, man, for real. So I took a bunch of cash out of that construction company, and I invested in learning how to be able to launch my tech company, Flikshop now. And we built a mobile app that allows families the ability to do it easily because I knew it was hard. So I'm like, yo, what if I built an app that allowed family members the ability to take a picture, add some quick text, press send, and for like $1 or so, we can print that text on a real tangible postcard for the family member, put postage on it, and ship it to any person anywhere in the cell, anywhere in the country, whether or not they are in a juvenile facility, state facility, federal facility, county facility, ICE detention center. We will work with each one of these correctional facilities to make sure that your loved one receives mail. And so over the last several years, we've been working adamantly with over 3,000 facilities around the country to ensure that we are the approved vendor that will allow people to get mail, whether or not the mail is getting to you in the actual postcard, whether or not it's coming to a facility where it may get scanned and end up on your tablet. However it gets to you, we want to make sure that photos and letters get to people that's in prison. And now after connecting over 185,000 families around the world, we're now being labeled as one of the most impactful apps in the App Store.
Come on now, bro. And this is lived experience, man. And that's why I always tell people those who are closest to the problem are also closest to the solution. It took a brother who actually been there, been through it, understands it, come home, hear the same issue. You know what? Fuck it. I'm a part of the problem too because this shit is just too difficult. Let me come up with the solution. And that's really what bossing up is all about for the listeners. Like, entrepreneurship is solely solving a problem and then figuring out a way to get paid for it.
Yeah.
And so if we walk through life looking for solutions and problem solvers, you always going to have some opportunities when it comes to this thing called entrepreneurship. And to think this brother at one time was incarcerated and now he's helping other families. What you said, how many 3,000 correctional facilities? Like
1,000 facilities around the country, yeah.
Come on, bro. Like, that shit is crazy. And so, like, now you're having a lot of success with this, and this work is impactful. But I also seen through some of my research that so you're also teaching people now, specifically incarcerated individuals, how to utilize and start a tech startup the same way that you have. Tell us a little bit about that and what that entails.
No, I appreciate you. Absolutely. I mean, the reality is that I learned very quickly that people would care less whether or not you got a felony conviction in the tech industry. Like, yo, if you know how to build the thing, if you know how to work inside, they like, yo, that question don't even come up. They're like, look, we it's moving too fast. We're building so fast, so rapidly. Like, we're less concerned about a lot of the things that typical industries are concerned with. And the bag is so big in the tech industry that I'm like, yo, how can I get more people inside this joint over here? Because they catching the dumb bag in the tech space. And it's from anything. I mean, you don't always have to be like hands-on keyboard writing code, right? Although there are those people, the software engineers, what have you. But it's like everything from tech sales. If you a salesperson and you like saying like, yo, you willing to be able to figure out how to go to a restaurant and sell a restaurant why they should use a specific cash register machine, whether or not it's a AI consultant. AI is big right now. And a lot of these companies are aging. The leaders are aging out, and they have no idea how to use these AI tools. And so, like, the people that are coming in and like, yo, I feel comfortable with using ChatGPT and Claude Cowork and to be able to leverage to build out strategy and sales processes for teams. As long as somebody can teach me how to do it, yeah, I'm with it. There are other roles, you know, I mean, all these roles in the tech sector, they pay a massive bag, and I wanted to be able to make sure people know how to do it. So we launched a program called Flikshop School of Business, and we go back into jails and prisons when we can find the right partners to work with, and we teach these classes all around how to come home and catch a tech bag.
Yo, bro, that's fire. Yo, and just a quick shameless plug. So the tech space, our listeners, Jody Anderson, you got man, damn, now I'm losing some of the thoughts. I got Jody who been on, he's in the tech space, Silicon Valley, doing workforce development. You got my boy Andre out of Westchester. He tech space, came home, getting to it, helping people in that capacity. You got your boy Harley Blake, man, he came home and started a tech company and he was helping. And the thing that I find unique about what you did though, Marcus, everyone that I've talked to who's come home and done things in the tech, it's really more so in alignment with either reentry specifically, like how to reenter the workforce or trying to help people in that regard. But what I really like about yours is totally outside of the box. It's still solving a need because you're connecting people, which we know is the connectivity piece is huge. You figured out how to carve out a bag for yourself and be impactful in uplifting others. And now going back and teaching people how to do it. So because to me, leadership is never about how many followers. That's some fake social media, Instagram bullshit. A true leader is really about how many other leaders you help pull up and develop and get through that door. And that's essentially what you're doing by teaching this entrepreneurship inside of the prison. And so salute to you, brother, for the work you're doing.
That, bro. Appreciate you.
Most definitely. So tell us a little bit about what that, if you don't mind, of sharing a little bit, maybe what that boot camp looks like, how many weeks, some of the facilities you might be, and then also for our listeners, since they are in correctional facilities, how they might be able to make a request to get your program into the facility.
Yeah. So let me start backwards. The Flikshop School of Business is a highly it's a highly requested program, and I want to be able to figure out how to be able to run the program inside of more facilities. So if you're in there listening and you would like for us to be able to come to your facility, I hope that you'll put that request for me in a day and be like, yo, look, go do some research around Flikshop and the Flikshop School of Business around Marcus Bullock, and let's invite Flikshop School of Business to the facility. Marcus already assured us that he's willing to come. I don't care where the facility is.
Let's do it.
So that's definitely fact. That's one of the lighter of the questions. But how do folks engage with what the program in and of itself once you're in? So once you apply for the program, because it's a vetted program, I look at all the applications. I make sure that we know who's going to be in the classroom. We ask you some about some of your ideas because we don't want every idea to be the same. I want to have a bunch of different people in there and in the classroom with different ideas. And different business backgrounds. I'm hoping that we have a bunch of people who have no idea how to start a company. Those are my favorite. Yep. The know-it-alls are always helpful because they could be mentors in the classroom. But we like the people that are going that thirsty for knowledge.
I'm with you.
Once you get in the classroom, it's a dope experience. I promise you. The best part about FSB is that it's led by people who have done time before, and you have to have done time and have had a successful business grossing at least over $1 million in sales in one single year, right? Because of that single isolation, that isolation peak for our lecturers, it places our scholars in an environment where they're first of all only hanging around millionaires for a couple of weeks.
Talk it. Yes.
Period.
Did you get this? Did you kind of come up with this from being in EY leadership? I was in EO, so I learned a lot of things that I do in business from me being in EO. And I know in EO, in order to be in, your business has to make at least $1 million a year to even be accepted. And so did you come up with this concept like that, similar to that?
No. You know why? Because I came up with this concept is because too many people will go into a prison and they be in that John Wellen. And they'll go into a prison and they'll be like, you know what? This is how you do something. And I'm like, yo, but have you done it before? And they're like, no, but theoretically, this is how you're supposed to do it. And we're like, I get you.
We don't want to hear that shit. We don't want to hear that shit.
But have you seen them?
Facts.
Have you seen those zeros in your bank account? Like, have
That's a
you been
fact,
able
bro.
to figure out how to? Like, I get it that you're thinking that I'm supposed to write a business plan, I'm supposed to write a marketing plan, I'm supposed to write. But have
Hmm.
you able to leverage those things in order to be able to generate real revenue? And so, like, that was the thing for us, and we knew that our scholar. Because I'm gonna challenge you in that way. I mean, not out loud, right? But I'm gonna look at you, be like, I'm gonna be thinking it the whole time, be like,
Hmm.
but you ain't even did it before, though. How you gonna tell
I'm
me
with
how to
you.
do it? You know what I
I'm
mean,
with
right?
you, bro. I'm
And,
with you.
and I knew that the people I knew the people that was going to be in our classrooms were going to be thinking the same way I was going to be thinking. And so I had to
Plus, they
do.
around the motherfucker all day. They hear this shit all the time already from this motherfucker. So they if they wanted that class, they would have just signed up with them. They want to hear it from motherfuckers who's actually done it,
Have done it.
proven, and they could learn from. So I'm with you. I just had to throw that in, bro,
Yeah,
because
no,
I
no, no. I
get it.
appreciate
Trust
you.
me, I
I
get it.
appreciate you.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, but that's really for the listeners, so you hear like the level of intentionality around the things that not only that we're doing, but that
Yep.
I expect each one of y'all to do when y'all building yours. I don't care what it is. There needs to be intentionality around everything that you're building, because the reality of it is that we can all see through that facade in the real world anyway. So anyway, I
Yep.
digress. I'm not gonna take that. I'm not
Yep.
gonna go down that road. But so
But it's a bar, bro, and it's a jewel for the listeners. Like, basically what we telling y'all is don't ever, 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 ever listen to someone who hasn't done it themselves. That's rule number one. Like, and I live by that law. Like, so this is how real it is, bro. Like, my mom, she ain't never been married before. I've been married, what, 17, 18 years now. I don't even listen to my mom when it comes to relationship advice, because it's like, yo, you ain't do what I did. So how can you tell me like what we going through? I need to find the person who's been married for 25 years so
exactly.
I could seek their advice and learn from them, because they actually been through it. No knock at my mom's, but she just ain't do it. And so what we're telling you is, when you're looking for a mentor, when you're looking to learn from somebody who's actually done it, not someone who's just telling you in theory. Sorry,
Yeah,
bro, but
yeah,
I
no,
had to
no,
land that
you
plane.
dropping jewels, you dropping jewels. The thing, so once we identify, the right fit for the instructors, and we knew we had to figure out again, we had to codify what it is that I did. So what were the real strategies that I had to take when I came home in order to be able to launch my company, right? Like all the way from the business formation, all and learning, like, yo, the business formation ain't really mean nothing. It was just some paperwork I filled, right? I ain't sold nothing. I ain't generating no revenue, not yet. And so like learning like there's some pride in the business formation part, but that's where it stops. Then now the execution comes in, right? And what do those executables look like? And so we start to share about that. And then finally, one of the things that, and we leverage tech in order to weave in through the entire program, through everything that we do. But finally, the last thing that I think is the most critical is we work on our communication skills. The reality of it is that you will be able to accomplish most things in your life if you have strong communication skills.
Bro, that's a fact.
That is a soft skill that I think that we have not placed enough emphasis on developing, specifically for our people who have had involvement with the justice system. And not because I need you to be able to explain your way, articulate your way out of why you did or did not commit your crime, or why someone should believe in you because of that, but because when you learn how to successfully articulate yourself and try to figure out how to identify a problem that you know that the world suffers from, and then the solution that you're building to help to solve that problem, and packaging it in a way that allows for the receivers or the benefactors of the solution that you're building to align themselves with your problem, then the sky is the limit no matter what it is you decide to do. Whether it's inside of your business, inside of your family architecture, whether it's inside of your home, inside of your relationship with your, in your whatever religion you're in, like any of those things, this is a discipline. If you can learn how to be able to leverage communication skills to articulate yourself well,
Yep.
you're
Sky's the
halfway.
limit. Like you said it. I know for certain from just doing personal SWOTs, and for the listener, a SWOT is your strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And businesses do them all the time. But a lot of times people don't take enough time to do their own personal SWOT. But I know from doing personal SWOTs of myself that my superhuman strength is my communication. And so like that shit is what's opened up doors for me. That's what's allowed me to be who I am today. It come down to my communication, being able to talk to someone, articulate my point, being a likable individual, because people do business with people they know, like, and can trust. And so like your communication is
Double
going to
down
be
on that one
key.
though, real quick. I just need you to double down on that being a likable individual, because I need you to give permission to all of the listeners to be a likable individual.
Yo, be a likable individual. One, we have to oftentimes shield or remove that armor that we had, that persona of the person we were in the street. Like I was NBA. So everything I did, my mission, my values went back to this cat named NBA. It wasn't Trent Griffin-Braaf. And so I had to learn to, one, remove that persona, embrace who I really am, really dive into that, and then start to focus on being someone who's likable. I don't know if NBA was as likable as Trent is today. And, but that likability has been what's opened up doors, and it will continue to open up doors. And that's my superpower. And I think we all have the opportunity to utilize that as a superpower, even if it's not our natural God-given strength. We just got to work on it. But communication is key, bro.
Yeah,
Communication
no
is
question.
key.
No
100%.
question.
So question for you real quick. You also had, so how long is the program in totality? 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 4 months?
It's boot camp style, so it's 3 weeks.
3 weeks. I like it. And then my other question is, you say you leverage tech. So are you only able to do this in facilities that have some sort of technology access for you, or can you also do it in those facilities? Because we know there's facilities that act like they ain't got no fucking tech.
Yeah. So I mean, we tier it. I mean, obviously the facilities that have the most access, those are the ones that you see the residents perform the best, obviously. But we've been in facilities where it's only a whiteboard, and a dry erase marker, and we're still able to have conversation around how the technology impacts even the work that we're doing now. And now we're able to clearly delineate the path to success, or at least the path that I took for success, but also where the tech instruments are being used in each one of those. And we kind of try to explain it in a culturally relevant way so that we can align with what our residents already know. I mean, I got 8 years of market research of being inside of these prisons, so I know exactly how to speak a different language. And so that makes it a bit easier. But yeah, shout out to all the facilities that are a bit more empathetic in your way of thinking through reentry.
Right. Yo, and because digital literacy is real, and it's a requirement now. It's not even no longer, something that someone could say,
Yeah.
5 years ago, being able to say you could use AI tool, even though it wasn't really heavy, that would have been like, oh, this is above and beyond. But today you need to know how to use this stuff. Like technology, phones, Apple Pay, people are cashless. Like if you went to jail 10 years ago, it's a whole nother world. Shit, if you went to jail 5 years ago, it's a totally different world.
Yeah.
And so so digital literacy is huge, bro. So one question, bro, and I appreciate you. We, like I told you from the jump, we try to keep these under an hour, and we're getting close to that moment. And so I appreciate you sharing your journey from that 15-year-old young man to who you are today, how you built that construction company, how you then transitioned and you got into tech, and now you're bringing others with you. And so my question, and it's the same question we ask every guest as we end the show, take us back to that 15-year-old Marcus now, excuse me, and tell us what you would go back and tell that 15-year-old Marcus, knowing what you know today, if you had the opportunity to do so. Just a little advice around life.
Yeah. It's more money out. It's more money on the other side of the fence. That's what I told myself. I mean, I just didn't know. You know what I mean? Like, yo, I grew up in the hood. Like, I ain't know. You know what I mean? Like, yo, I conceptually understood that what wealth looked like, because it was something that seemed unattainable. But I don't know if I could have participated. I didn't think I could have participated. I don't know if anyone gave me the permission to be able to participate in whatever the strategies that they took, whoever they are, to be able to become wealthy. But if I knew now what I know now, what I could tell you this, because this is what I tell my son right now, bruh. He's 15 right now, and I tell my son, like, yo, you can participate. This is all for you too, bro. It's all for you. You know what I mean? And you can do it legit. You can do what you want. And the reality of it is, most people going to tell you that you can't. And then there are going to be people that are going to kind of sort of pseudo believe in you, and they're going to say that you can because they feel like they need to hedge their bet by saying that you can't, just in case you do. But then that's real. But then
That is real, bro.
Yeah, but then they're going to be the ones who genuinely want to help support and build community around you. And those are going to be the ones that's going to help accelerate your path to the top. And if you don't do anything else, try to figure out a way to align yourself with those people who are going to help accelerate you to the top, because it's for you too. You can participate too.
Bro, that's beautiful jewels right there. Like Marcus just said. So real quick, y'all, give yourself the right to know what you can do. Like a lot of times we live in these mental prisons where we tell ourselves things we can't do, or we don't even fully believe in ourselves. One of the number one rules I believe is confidence. And we got to have the confidence in ourselves that we can achieve what appears to be the unachievable.
Yeah.
Kobe probably deep down in his heart knew 6 championships rings was going to be hard, but he was willing to go every day and put the work in so he could prepare himself for that fight. And 5 championships later, he's considered one of the GOATs. But that came down to the belief in self. And that's something that you, me, Marcus, we can't put that in anybody. That's you going through life experiences and showing yourself what you're capable of, showing up for yourself, not quitting on yourself when things get hard. Like all of those things start to build that esteem of self.
Yes.
And once you have that confidence, you walk through this world as a totally different person because you know you could do whatever the fuck you want to do. And that's essentially what we're trying to do through Prison Bosses, is show you guys if I was able to do a little something, Marcus was able to do a little something, we ain't no different than each and any one of you guys. Only difference is I could guarantee you Marcus got some real self-esteem. Marcus believes in himself. I guarantee you can't tell Marcus what he can and can't do. He gonna go out there and show you exactly what the fuck he could do every single time. Am I right?
Every single time.
Every single time. And so, brother, we really, really, really appreciate you being on the show with us today. This was a special episode just for the listeners. We usually don't even film on this day, but I wanted Marcus on this show because I seen the stuff he was doing. I knew he would leave a lot of great jewels, and I knew it would be something special for each and every one of you guys. So this is really a special episode. And Marcus, we just thank you, bro. And so can you let the people know where they could find you? Where they could find your socials, where they could write you at, where they could find information on your on the app, all of the etc. Like they really will be reaching out. I can assure you that.
Yeah. I mean, all of my socials are Marcus Bullock, MarcusBullock. So that's all the socials. But if you listen to this and you still inside, tell your folks to send you some pictures. Like download Flikshop is free. Their first Flikshop credit is also free, so they can send you pictures right now completely for free.
Right.
Tell them to go ahead and go download it. Flikshop free in the Android and Apple app stores.
Let's go. And so you guys, again, I advise you go back, you listen to this episode again. Marcus left a lot of great jewels. His story is phenomenal. It's exceptional, but so can yours as well. Him and like myself, I think one thing we both have in common is we believe if we were able to do it, so can you. And so I'll leave you with that. Have a wonderful day, everybody. And until the next episode, stay safe, stay out of the way, and continue to boss up so that one day you could be featured on Prison Bosses.